Secrets about the mantis shrimp revealed. Welcome to another episode. If you enjoy this type of content, then subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss out on any of our latest and greatest uploads. The mantis shrimp is neither a mantis nor a shrimp, but it does wield perhaps the most stunning strike in the animal kingdom. Sitting below its face are two hammers, which the crustacean cocks back and launches at its prey with such speed that it shatters snail shells and tears crabs' limbs right out of their bodies. These things are ornery and will even fight a human given the chance. For the mantis shrimp, the only tool they have is a hammer, and all the world looks like a nail. But perhaps that's not giving the mantis shrimp enough credit. Because like any good scrapper, this critter can't just throw punches willy-nilly, it's gotta strategize. Just how much so, scientists report today in the Journal of Experimental Biology. The first righteous bit. They found that depending on the shape of a marine snail shell, a mantis shrimp will change up its punching strategy. And the second bit, the researchers validated these strategies with something called 𝐤𝐨𝐬𝐬, a machine that replicates the legendary strike of the feistiest crustacean on Earth. A mantis shrimp's punch is so fast and powerful, it produces what's known as cavitation bubbles. When the hammer launches at prey, it develops an area of low pressure in which vapor bubbles form. These suddenly collapse to release a shock wave that supplements the punch and increases the local temperature up to 8,500 degrees Fahrenheit. That heat is only fleeting, but the strike is so intense it will often knock prey like crabs out cold. Snails, though, they're a whole other challenge for the mantis shrimp. The researchers looked at species with three shell types in particular. The first, known as low-spired, is a squat shell with a wide aperture, or the opening where the meat of the snail pokes out. The second, known as high-spired, is a much longer, less girthy shell with a small aperture and pointy apex or tip. And the third is something in between with a wide aperture like the first, only a bit lengthier. When presented with a snail with a wider opening, a mantis shrimp attacks that bit relentlessly. Overwhelmingly, they're just hitting the aperture the whole time, says Stanford University biologist 𝐥𝐢𝐤𝐞, lead author on the new paper. They rarely hit the apex, and then they also avoid the whorl. The whorl being the center bit, basically everything that's not the opening or the tip. The story with the higher spired shells is more complicated, says 𝐥𝐤𝐤. In general, the mantis shrimp tends to start by hitting the opening like it did with the squatter low-spired shells. But as they work at the shell, they switch to striking that pointy tip. Which is weird, 𝐥𝐤𝐤 adds. Based on how cracks spread through a shell, it's unlikely that strikes at the aperture would weaken the apex. So, what's going on here? Enter 𝐤𝐤𝐬𝐿. The machine is set up much like an actual mantis shrimp appendage. It's got a spring which stores energy, a hammer which does the hammering obviously, and a latch which lets loose the hammer. With this machine, the researchers could replicate the same force of a mantis shrimp punch on different parts of the shells, only in a more controlled way. Good luck asking a mantis shrimp to punch on command. What they found is that, as the mantis shrimp's behavior suggests, the aperture is a sweet spot. When 𝐤𝐤𝐬𝐿 hit the aperture the first couple of times, the shell would usually break off a little bit, so pieces of the lip would chip away, says 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐿. But that success rate plummeted pretty rapidly on high-spiraled shells with relatively small apertures. It seems that the aperture with these high-spired shells is a strategy of diminishing returns, 𝐥𝐤𝐤 adds. So they start off and it seems like it's going to be really successful, but likely due to aspects of the shell's morphology, that gets less and less successful over time. So the predator switches from striking the opening to striking the tip. What the mantis shrimp definitely doesn't do, though, is switch and strike at the whorl. It's pretty much indestructible for our boxer, which the researchers also confirmed with 𝐤𝐤𝐬𝐿. The easy answer is that the whorls are terrible, says 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐿. The mantis shrimp never hit them. So the mantis shrimp doesn't just come across a snail and bash the hell out of it at random. It customizes its strategy based on the shape of the shell, like a boxer adapting to different opponents. And like a good boxer, it's extremely perceptive about its target. 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐿 isn't sure yet how exactly the mantis shrimp sizes up the shell. It could be sight or feel or even chemosensory clues. But what's clear is the predator deliberately takes the snail into its maxillipeds, small appendages it uses to feed, rolling the shell around before jamming it into the substrate and making it strike, which lasts mere milliseconds. Really, that makes the mantis shrimp more like a patient archer than a boxer. All the aiming and planning and setting up has to happen before the critter releases its strike. It can adjust once the hammers are let loose. It takes a really long time in order for an animal to be this fast, Crane says. It's persistent too. The researchers caught one mantis shrimp hitting a shell 460 times. Far from being a brute that its power would suggest, the creature relies on complex behaviors that it adapts to different prey. All the world may still be a nail to the mantis shrimp, but it's no mere hammer. And with that, we've reached the end of this video all about secrets about the mantis shrimp revealed. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for content just like it.